Welcome back to Tonkville, the ultimate Smallville rewatch podcast, where each week we go back and watch every episode of the show that changed our lives and discuss it with fans like you. Thomas Welling, welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Ryan Tellez.
Hi.
We're all weird today. We're all really weird.
We're having a day.
This is we're doing Shimmer today. Shimmer is the episode 10. I hope you're all caught up. So you're watching or listening with us, and we're going to go over it. If you didn't get a chance to call in and leave your questions for this episode, make sure you get some in for future episodes. Please call in to our hotline, 213-538-2883. That's 213-538-2883. We ask you to leave your messages, make your messages short, to the point.
I was listening to this Tom Petty radio station the other day on one of the satellites, and there was this recording of him saying, "Please call in, let me know your favorite songs, and please don't send me this 2-page thing about the whole story. Just tell me the song and where you live, because that's the kind of guy I am." And I was like, that's funny.
Guys, our socials are Talkville Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Talkville Pod on the Twitter. And it really is important for you to write reviews and subscribe and tell your friends. We're just getting started here. We're halfway through season 1 almost. And we need your support. We need your love. If you want to become a patron and support the podcast, it really helps us, especially since we don't have a lot of advertisers in the first 10 episodes. So go to patreon.com/talkville. Patreon.com/talkville. There's different perks. Yeah. Different things that you could, tiers, and just support the podcast. We really appreciate it. And those that are supporting the podcast the most, the top tiers, get their names shouted out at the end of every episode by Tom and myself. It's a treat. Your name. We might even screw your name up. We tend to do that. Lana? Is it Lana, Tom?
We still don't know. I hope she calls in to tell us.
Oh, my Lord. Without further ado, let's get into season 1, episode 10. This is called Shimmer. You know, this is like a kind of like a haunted house sort of ghost episode, wasn't it?
Haunted Mansion.
Haunted Luthor Mansion. Here we go. Episode review. Shimmer aired January 29th, 2002. Director was DJ Caruso, which Tom believes he directed other episodes. I can't remember. The writers were Alfred Goff, Miles Miller, Michael Green, and Mark Verheiden. The guest stars, Kelly Brook as Victoria Hardwick. We get to see her in a bathtub. And, why won't Lex get seen in a bathtub? I guess no one wants to see Lex in a bathtub. Jesse Hutch as Troy Turner, Ket Turton as Jeff Palmer, Glynis Davies as Mrs. Palmer, and Azura Skye as Amy Palmer. Now, Azura Skye, I don't know if you guys know, but any diehard Michael Rosenbaum fans out there, Zoe, Duncan, Jack, and Jane, and Azura Skye played my sister Jane.
Huh.
Isn't that a treat? No one cares?
And then she played your love interest, or you were her love interest in this.
Yeah, she had a crush on me.
That goes back to the brother-sister thing that we talked about with Lana when we were in Boston. Yeah.
Here we go with a little synopsis, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you took some notes yourself. I hope you called in. We're getting ready to do it. Here we go. Jeff Palmer discovers a strange green rose and extracts its oils to create a cream, which renders him invisible. Jeff uses his power of invisibility to attack Victoria. Meanwhile, Clark considers making a move for Lana while Whitney is distracted by his father's illness.
Well, that's a synopsis, but that's not what he was doing.
Well, we'll get into it. You're already defending Clark.
I'm just saying that's if somebody's internet went out right there and they heard that, I just want to know.
It sounds a little bit like, oh man, Clark, what is he doing? What is he up to?
What a jerk.
At Smallville High, Amy Palmer is caught by Troy Turner obsessing over Lex Luthor in her notebook. Amy's brother, Jeff Palmer, rescues her. In the locker room, Troy gets attacked by a seemingly invisible assailant.
By the way, did anyone else think Troy Turner looked like Tom Cruise's son?
Yes.
Yeah.
I see it now.
He
Very
did.
handsome,
You mean the
very
bully?
handsome.
The bully guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing that he's a guest star when he only had that one scene, that one moment, right? And it's considered a guest star.
I guess I don't know what the determination is, but he had a lot of lines.
Yeah, he did a good job. By the way, that scene in the locker room.
Yeah, let's discuss that.
Let's discuss that. I thought it was pretty cool, but it was like he was getting the shit beat out of like the weights were like lifting in the air from a ghost or something and smacking him in the chest and the locker door and the shoe kind of coming up. It was a little hokey, but kind of cool.
Oh, that's what you want to talk about.
What were you going to talk about?
You don't want to talk about the fucking beefcakes?
Oh, yeah, Johnny Beefcakes, old Clark Kent and Pete Ross lifting some weights. What are you guys doing? How many push-ups were you doing before that take? Don't lie.
I probably as many as I possibly could, which I don't know what the number was, but I know that, whenever you have scenes like that, you're trying to get that little pump and people are like, oh, you should use resistance bands. No, you should just do push-ups. No, you should eat a piece of chocolate. It does something to your blood. And I'm just like, all right.
What did you do? Probably push-ups.
I think we probably I'm sure Sam and I were like, seeing who could do some more push-ups than the other. We were probably joking around about it more than anything else.
And then who lubes you up?
That was just the steam, I think. I don't remember if we had any oil on the
There wasn't real steam in there.
Well, there is steam, but you're not shitting in a steam, place.
Shitting
But the problem
in a
is when you
steam
do all those
place.
push-ups and then they're like action and you're like, wait, what's going on? And you got to like push it all back. So
Well,
it's a fine line.
But you
It's a
guys look
very-
good. You look good. I thought it was a fun scene. I don't know why Clark suddenly went, "You okay over there?" It was like after he's getting the shit beat out of him over and over. And he's like, "I don't know, it's a ghost." And then you see Clark looks towards the showers and he sees that some skeleton, right?
Yeah.
Shimmer.
The shape.
At the Beanery, by the way, my air conditioning went out in the house. So if I start to perspire or I have some kind of episode, sorry. At the Beanery, Clark tells Chloe about the attack while Lana and Whitney are seen arguing about the blood drive. I need space. Okay. Well, if you can't be honest with me, I don't know why we're in a relationship at all.
And then she takes 15 steps and goes, by the way, Chloe, you haven't signed up. Clark, you haven't signed up, which I thought was a very funny scene because you got to see Clark kind of play this. It's a comedy, but this sort of like, what do I do in this situation with, Chloe staring at him, Lana staring at him, and he kind of has to navigate that. I thought that was a fun scene to watch.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. And also the fact that Clark, obviously, I didn't even need Jonathan Kent to tell the audience later on, but you knew that Clark couldn't give blood because he has some kind of super, alien blood. And you could tell he was a little uncomfortable. And I was like,
I remember discussing the needle wouldn't penetrate his skin.
Yeah, it's like your parents say later, like you
first-
do have an issue with needles. It's just not the one that everyone thinks it is.
No one can penetrate you with a needle, right?
Uh-huh.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
At the Luthor mansion, Lex and Victoria Hardwick are playing pool when Amy Palmer, who works there with her family, walks in to serve drinks, and Amy spills the drinks all over Victoria out of jealousy.
Okay, I have a question.
Sure.
So I watched this scene, and then I got distracted, so I came back and I restarted watching this from this scene. Lex Luthor shoots the pool ball, picks up the cue ball, moves it to where he'd like it to be, shoots again, and I think moves it a third time. Is that how Lex plays pool? He just puts the ball wherever he wants?
He's practicing.
Oh.
He's just practicing shots. That's all he's doing.
All
Because
right.
it was a little odd. He's a good cheater or a bad cheater. And I thought Azura was kind of, creepy and like weird, and she played that really well.
Kelly's character definitely picked up on it.
Who?
Kelly's character.
Oh, yeah. The spill. I mean, that was pretty on the nose, you know. Amy's mother scolds her to know her place, and Amy is caught fawning over an ancient-faced watch, which we find out she stole.
Yes.
Clark arrives at the Luthor mansion to deliver an order of white tulips and finds Lex searching for a watch his mother gave him. While they talk, the flowers are thrown to the floor. That was kind of creepy.
I was surprised that Lex Luthor stayed on the ground through almost that entire scene. He didn't even stand up when Clark got there. He's just like behind the couch. He's like, oh, hey, Clark.
Yeah, it was just comfortable. He was comfortable. He was searching for the watch. Yeah, he kind of squatted on the end of the couch, like on his knees, and like, yeah, tried to have the scene there. Trying to mix it up, Tom. That's what Lex Luthor's doing. Victoria is snooping on Lex's computer after logging into his Luthor Corp account when noise is heard upstairs in her room. Clark, Lex, and she rush upstairs to find the place ransacked with signs, "Leave, get out, get out." Very Amityville horror. I thought it was a lot.
The black light?
Yeah, what was with that big light coming through, though? Like the big light and the thing. Well, because it wasn't a ghost, as we find out. So what was causing that?
The light was a little weird because we never saw anyone who could be invisible or shimmer ever make a light like that again. I don't remember. But I do feel like that whoever was in there for like 12 hours painting all that stuff. There's a lot of stuff in there.
It was a lot of stuff to do.
That was some intense set design.
It really was.
That really didn't come back. It was just the one thing.
Yeah. Odd.
Yeah.
Get out. Leave. Do you think...
Although the paint comes back later.
Oh, yeah. The paint comes back later.
What were we going to ask?
On the scaffolding.
Yeah.
In the Luthor mansion. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No. Lionel Luthor arrives in Smallville to give Lex a hard time about having Victoria at the mansion weaseling into Luthor Corp.
This was John Glover at his best. I mean, he's in one scene. He comes in. He just takes all over. And, you know, I love that scene. He's so much fun and so scary, but trying to be loving at the same time. There's so many dynamics to him, but that's John. I mean, if you listen to this podcast enough, I'll always tell you how much I adore him. So this is just another one of those stories.
Yeah. And, you know, I always feel uncomfortable when I have to kiss people. It just feels like I was getting a little heavy on the kissing. I think I like kissing her. I don't know. But it was a little bit, you know, it was a little much for me. I don't know. Did you guys feel the same way or you were all right with it?
I think the kiss at the pool table was more awkward.
Yeah. Ryan?
You're kind of showing your dad.
Showing off?
You're showing off in front of your dad. Like, I don't care. Check this
Hey,
out.
Dad.
Or
And
what
she's
we
drawing a
find
bath
out.
for me.
Or what we find out later, you're setting your dad up. You're setting everybody up. Lex is setting everybody up.
Yes. Pawns. You're all pawns. Clark helps Lana with the blood drive, avoiding donating by saying he's afraid of needles. It comes out that Aunt Nell and Jonathan Kent used to date. My crush used to date Jonathan Kent.
Yeah.
At school, Clark uses X-ray to see what prescription Whitney has in his backpack.
Snooping.
Yeah. At the beanery, Amy tells Clark that she saw Victoria going through Lex's things. Clark arrives at the mansion to warn Lex, who says he's aware of it. Lex is very aware of it. And I think that was kind of cool that Lex is always a step ahead of everybody. He's like, I know she's snooping around. I don't trust her. I'm just making love, enjoying playing the game.
It's all a game to you.
It's always a game. He's like, no one, you know, because deep down, if you look at it subtextually, I think that Lex perhaps is someone who never feels like anyone will love him for who he is. So he just takes advantage of whatever he can. You know?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Clark tells him about Whitney's prescription. Lex is familiar with the medication, of course, because his mother took it for her heart condition. It's kind of an emotional scene. It almost looks like Lex was getting a little teary-eyed talking about his mother. I thought that was a really good scene between Lex and Clark.
There's a couple, I think there's 2 or 3 good hints or drops about Lex's mom in this episode. You got the watch, you got this. I think there might be one more.
Yeah, I think you could tell that Lex really loved his mom and still hasn't gotten over it, you know? And I think that comes out later in episodes here and there. While Victoria is bathing, she's attacked by an invisible assailant. Clark rescues and is able to use X-ray to see the skeleton of the assailant leaving the room. He leaves behind kryptonite blood after stepping on glass. Now, you had to take her out of the bathtub, so I assume Clark saw her naked.
Yep.
Clark did, yes.
And what did Clark think of that?
It's funny. There's they don't show anything where Clark comes in. He goes, "Oh no, anyway, let me help you."
Yeah,
there's none of that.
Don't you think Lex would have been like, not bad, huh? Not shabs. He's like a kid in high school.
But yeah, that's on the save count. That's the first nude save.
That's the first nude save.
First nude save.
Yeah.
Talkville is brought to you by Indeed. Indeed is the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. I don't know about you, but if you have a business and you need to hire people, it's a pain in the arse. Tom, I mean, it's brutal. So if you have a company that helps you do all this in one easy step, why wouldn't you do it? Don't spend hours on multiple job sites looking for candidates with the right skills when you can do it all with Indeed.
Find top talent fast with Indeed's suite of powerful hiring tools like Indeed Instant Match, assessments, and virtual interviews.
Hate waiting? Indeed's U.S. data shows over 80% of Indeed employers find quality candidates whose resume on Indeed matches their job description the moment they sponsor a job.
Indeed makes it easy to start hiring. It takes 10 minutes or less for most SMB employers to post a job according to Indeed Data US.
Indeed does the hard work for you. Sponsor a job and boom, Instant Match shows you candidates whose resumes on Indeed fit your job description. Immediately after you post, with Instant Match, you can start hiring fast.
With Indeed, you can select for the skills that matter to you most. Customize your job posts with a selection of over 100 Indeed assessment tests and find the candidates with the right skills fast.
Indeed has a jaw-dropping pool of talent. In fact, 3 out of 4 of U.S. online job seekers search for jobs on Indeed each month, according to ComScore. Join over 3 million businesses worldwide using Indeed to hire great talent fast.
Start hiring now with a $75 sponsored job credit to sponsor your job post at Indeed.com/talk. Offer good for a limited time.
Claim your $75 credit now at Indeed.com/talk. Indeed.com/talk. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Now a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. So many times you have problems and you think you can solve them yourselves, Tom. You yourself, you could just, you could take care of it. And these, with me, I have these thoughts that just keep kind of spinning. And, for a long time, I thought I could deal with this. I thought I could handle it. I thought I could, but it becomes kind of obsessive where you just can't stop. You can't stop these thoughts. And when I got into therapy, I started realizing that there are ways to change the way you think, to stop yourself from doing these things. And it was really important for me to hear objectively from someone else who knew what they were talking about, that being a therapist. And it really changed the way I think and changed my life in a lot of ways. I know it's changed a lot of people's lives, but have you done that where you're just you just can't stop thinking about something, you're obsessing about it, and then you talk to a therapist and you see a different way?
Yeah, it's funny. Those nights where you just can't get to sleep because it's like, and you try to distract yourself, you try to get up, you try to move around. But, if you can sort of collect a little bit how you're feeling and talk to a professional, they can help you work through maybe what is triggering it and what you might not be aware of, and give you tools to sort of try to navigate forward a little bit more, in a healthy way.
I think that's exactly right. It's like help you navigate. Help you sort of see things in a different way. I know.
I think one of the misconceptions is people think that when you go to a therapist, they make you feel stupid or they tell you what to do. And if either of those things happen, you're with the wrong therapist.
Yeah,
they're not.
exactly.
They're there to help you. They're not your parents. They're. You can say whatever you want and get it off your chest. And a lot of times, that's the best thing.
Yeah, my personal experience with therapy has been even when I don't feel like talking and I'm I have nothing to say, I don't want to be here, I don't know why I'm doing this, it's going to be a way, and it's 15 minutes in and I'm just feeling so much better. I'm calm. I have so much to say. There's so much on my mind. And you're right. I mean, there's the right therapist is out there for everybody.
I did have a circumstance like that where I talked to my guy and I was like, I got to be honest with you, I don't want to talk to you right now. And he goes, "You don't want to communicate?" And I was like, "Oh, got me."
There you
And then it was one of our best sessions ever because it was just let it out, man. Let it out.
Yeah, and I think we have all expectations of what it's going to be, and sometimes there's people just don't want to talk to anybody, and they just think they've got this, and they're old school. And I just got to tell you, through my experience, and I know Ryan here and Tom, it's you got to open yourself up. You got to, if you want to feel better about yourself, if you want to feel better about things in the world and not bottle things up, you got to you should give therapy a try. And
well, I mean, you've been trying to get Ryan into therapy for years.
Yeah, I have. And he finally did it with BetterHelp. Look, if you're thinking of giving therapy a try, BetterHelp is a great option. It's convenient, accessible, affordable, and entirely online. Get matched with a therapist after filling out a brief survey and switch therapists anytime. When you want to be a better problem solver, therapy can get you there. Visit betterhelp.com/talkville today to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/talkville.
I do remember that on the day, she's in the tub and I got to run in and the tub's down there and there was a whole discussion of like, can you pick her up, stand up and take her out of the shower, or do we have to do it in cuts? And I was like, I think I can pick her up. And so we did it. I ran in and I think we just did it one time. And I reached down, picked Kelly up, stood up and got her out. And she was, I don't know. I was surprised how effortless it was because I was a little worried about slipping and falling or just falling.
Plus she's really wet. So it's probably she's heavier with all the water, but you didn't fall. You didn't slip. She didn't fall. Yeah. I assume, I'm not being pervy here, by the way. I'm just saying, I assume she's wearing stickies or something or clothing, right? She wasn't nude when you picked her up.
No.
Okay. Just asking. It's just a question. I just had the question. I'm sure a lot of you were thinking that.
Now, if I remember, does it track that when she leaves that scene when Lionel comes in, she says, I'll draw us a bath. So Lex could easily have been in that bath at the same time, which would have been really awkward for Clark to come.
You'd have had to take two people out of the bath. Dong and boobs out of the bath. Old D&B's. Clark, sorry for getting a little risque.
Is that not the name of your next dive bar?
D&B's.
D&B's, dong and boobs.
Clark and Chloe analyze the blood back at school, of course, because that's what you do at school, and see its disappearing effects. They decide to check in. I like that effect on Chloe's hand.
That was cool.
It surprised me. I had to really they just kept showing it, and I was like, "What's happening?" And then
I was like, "That's bizarre."
Yeah,
that was really cool. They decide to check Amy Palmer's blood type against the sample. Clark confronts Whitney about the medication. Whitney's father is getting tests done in Metropolis, and it doesn't look good. He's been hiding it from Lana because she's already dealt with a lot of loss. I thought Eric did a good job as Whitney. I thought, he's just, dealing with his dad's death or his dad's dying, and he's, trying to cope with things that kids deal with high school. He's got nobody to turn to. He can't even turn to his girlfriend.
It's classic psychology defense where it's like when things are hard, you have a tendency to go inward and shut people out. If you've ever talked to anybody that deals with mental health, you really should be reaching out. Yeah. And I think, you get a little window into Clark's respect for Lana and her strength. He gets to share that.
Yeah.
To sort of encourage Whitney.
And, at this point, Clark's kind of, at this point, I think he's already tried to kiss Lana before Aunt Nell screws it up. I was like, oh my God, they're going to kiss. They are going to kiss. And they don't. And I'm like, good Lord. And when Nell goes in, I would have went right after it. She goes back inside. I don't know why Tom didn't say, hey, let's continue real quick. Let me give you a kiss goodnight or something. But no, old Clark Kent says, all right, I'll be respectful, completely respectful. I don't think it would have been disrespectful to give her a little kiss goodnight. No comment. Okay.
Well, she said, and the series ends.
Clark shares this with Lex and confides that he would feel like he's taking advantage of the situation to go after Lana. Lex, of course, disagrees and says, what the hell are you doing, son? All my work, concert tickets, party at the Luthor Mansion. What are you doing, son? You're blowing it. Lex and Clark return to the Luthor estate to search Amy's room, and they find a shrine to Lex as well as his watch. And I thought, Lex handled it really nicely with this woman.
Pretty casual, not offended, didn't, just kind of professional. Don't worry about it. I'd like you to leave.
He's known the woman in the family a long time. He feels bad, but he knows this is what's got to happen. You got to get the F out. It's time to go. Your daughter's creeped one too many times. Clark finds Lana in his loft watching the sunset. Instead of making his movie, he tells Lana that Whitney really needs her.
His move? Surely. You meant his move.
What'd I say?
His movie.
Making his move. Yes, I misread it. He's making his move. Yes, he's making a movie with Lana. You know what I really liked about this scene? I was like, they're going to use that same shot of the sun setting the entire scene, and they didn't. They kept changing it to make it darker and darker, and I thought that was really well done.
Yeah, it was subtle to where finally when the sun was down, I was like, oh, that's right, there was a sunset. It didn't, and I thought there was probably two reasons for that. One, our lighting department was, award-winning level. But also it's probably, no one wants to watch two people in front of a green screen and watch a sunset. Imagine if you flip that angle and you just saw a sun going down the whole scene. It would just be like,
it wouldn't work.
It wasn't green screen?
It was smart.
It wasn't green screen.
There's no green screen in front of the barn?
I think they changed the backdrop.
I thought it was green screen.
Was it green screen? Maybe it was green screen. I don't know. Maybe it was.
I think
what do you guys think?
I don't know, but then at the end she's got to say like, "Oh, we missed the sunset." Like
she didn't even say that.
She didn't.
She goes, "We missed it."
We missed it.
Which
I really like that
metaphor,
line. We missed it. It's kind of plays into the whole series. He misses it all the time. Throughout the whole episode, they miss it. They miss the opportunity. The opportunity presents itself many a time, and it's blown. And it's sad. And isn't it ironic? Don't you think? At the mansion, the Palmers are packing up. When they leave, Lex is attacked. This is one of the first times of many times that Lex Luthor will get knocked out unconscious. I thought the makeup was pretty good. I thought, the bruises and shit on Lex's face, I bought it. Chloe shares that the blood sample doesn't match Amy, but is a match for her brother, Jeff. Clark rushes to Lex's mansion to confront him, where he finds Lex bound and being tortured by an invisible attacker. I thought this was a pretty cool scene. I thought it was a little abrupt when he threw Jeff once, and that was it. I was hoping there would be a little more of attack. I like the ball and chain kind of hitting Clark's face and breaking into pieces. I like the paint. Kind of goes on half of his face, and one part's invisible because it didn't hit that part. Poor Jeff. Now, the thing is, Jeff survives.
Yes.
So I wonder why he hasn't come out saying, I saw Clark's powers. We never hear from Jeff again.
The concussion after he got hit definitely took care of that.
Oh, yeah.
In the writer's room of Smallville, I always picture this like sign of like, when in doubt, hit him in the head.
Yeah, they can't remember stuff.
You're like, we're stuck. How do we get out of this situation? I know. They hit him in the head and he forgets he saw anything.
Jeff explains how he found a green rose, studied it, and used it to make a cream that reflects light and allows him to become invisible. Clark fights off Jeff, covering him with paint to expose where he's at. Smallville Police Department and ambulances arrive to take him away. This episode is one of many television appearances that the American Red Cross made this year in an attempt to strengthen its brand recognition. An American Red Cross banner also appeared in episodes 24 of episodes of 24 in CSI. Amy Palmer's Shrine for Lex Luthor features an article about the bank robbery from episode X-Ray in 2001, which we went over. Bumper sticker quote of the episode: "He's not always there when you want him, but he's always there when you need him." Lana Lang.
Clark Kent. And she says it right to his face.
Yep.
DC Easter egg. Victoria's laptop screen says Cadmus on it. Cadmus Labs is in charge of Project Cadmus, which is a fictional genetic engineering project in the DC Comics universe and has been in the extended DC universe in the DC TV shows and cartoons as well.
Isn't it also the name of the lead character in Hunger Games?
Is it? His name is Cadmus?
Katniss.
The girl.
Katniss.
Oh.
You would know that. You want some more nerds?
Delete I said that.
Nerd.
Everybody knows Katniss Everdeen.
No, not me.
Well,
Superman nods. Here we go. Pete tells Clark, "You're hardly the flying type." And Chloe is saying that blue would suit Clark. Craig at Krypton Site notes. Craig, our good friend at Krypton Site. Go there for all your Smallville information. Azura Skye, Amy Palmer played Michael's sister on Zoe, Duncan, Jack, and Jane. I told you that one. Guest star Jesse Hutch, who played Troy Turner, would return in the season 2 episode Redux.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Redux was one of the worst episodes ever. I can't remember.
Isn't it Redo?
It says Redux. Does Redux
is it pronounced Redo?
Is that what it...
I have no
idea. It's R-E-D-U-X.
I actually don't know this.
No, why would you spell redo, Redux?
It's French? I don't know.
Okay.
Redo.
I know there's at least one looking out into the sunset scene. Yeah, Bryce says it might be a good opportunity to talk about these fake exteriors on the barn set that was built on the soundstage. Well, most of the sets were built in the soundstage, but in the first few seasons, Tom, we had a lot of exteriors because they only had Luthor Mansion, the Kent Farm, and not much else. Maybe the Beanery.
Yeah, and the Beanery was a horrible place to shoot because it was just a little cafe that wasn't built to have room for cameras and lighting and everything else. I really hated shooting there, just from a efficiency point of view. But basically, every time you see us inside, we're on a set, except for And then by a couple years later, we have our own. We've taken over 4 for soundstage. We have a whole. We built all those caves. We built a whole street in Metropolis. We took over this whole town that we were filming in.
Are there any episode or anything in the episode that you remember besides the bathtub incident, of course? Was there anything that you recall, or is it kind of a blur?
It's a bit of a blur. I remembered a lot of the scenes. I remembered sort of being there, but there weren't so many crazy behind the scenes stories for this one for me. The next one we're going to do, I have a lot for some reason, but on this one, I remembered sort of being there and everything being great, but nothing really you should know about this part.
I remember scenes with Victoria, with Kelly Brook. I remember she wasn't like an actress. She didn't do tons of actressy things. Actor.
She was like a supermodel. She was I thought she did great.
And I thought she did a great job, and she always wanted to rehearse. She really wanted to be as good as she could be, and I thought she did a nice job. And it was a joy to have her on set. I just remember she was there's certain people that when they come on set, they add a little energy, they add a little fun, a little joy of filmmaking, the process. And then there's some people that are a little more intense or a little withdrawn or just too nervous. And she was just a team player. I do remember that specifically.
I got a question. It looked cold. There, you could see a lot of breaths. Breasts? Well, that was covered because of television.
Right.
No, breaths. I saw a lot of cold breaths.
I'll tell you why.
That's the first time I noticed it.
It was probably October by the time we were shooting.
Yeah,
this.
because the next episode, which we'll go over, there's a scene where we shot till 6 a.m. and it was freezing. I remember going, "Oh my God, I'm going to be doing this for the next 6 years." That's what I thought.
I mean, was it brutal? Just being outside for all those.
Yeah, Vancouver got pretty freaking cold and rainy and just wet and cold. As beautiful as it could be, a couple of months, maybe a year, most of the time it's not pleasant. I hate to say that any Vancouverites out there, but for 7 to 10 years, Tom and I experienced this, and it's the most beautiful.
It's also we're in wardrobe for our characters, and when our view of the crew is in insulated down parkas with big old Sorel boots and gloves and going
and
this.
I'm bald,
and he's bald in a suit. It's just, that's how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
We ended up creating these elastic belts that would hold hot pocket things.
Yeah, those hot things that you shake and they get really hot.
Yeah, you could put them under your wardrobe, and then you'd stuff those same things in your front pockets, and your back pockets, and in your shoes, and that helped your core temperature at least sort of be okay.
I'm pretty much sure I put one down my pants.
That'll work.
Did they at least give you a hat?
That'll work. That'll work. The hotline is 213-538-2883. We've got some calls. Top patron privilege. If you want to join Patreon again, go to patreon.com/talkville. Support the podcast. We need you. Here's a message. This one is from Leanne. Let's see what she has to say.
Hey guys, Leanne here. So quick question about Shimmer. I was wondering if you guys in 2022, looking back at this episode, if you would rewrite anything in that episode. I was very impressed with how Smallville dealt with Amy's crush on Lex and how his response to it, realizing that she needed help. It was a mental health issue versus him being angry and upset. And I was wondering if you guys were to write the episode now, in 2022, would you change anything, keep it the same? I guess that's it. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Tough question. If you really dive into it, I mean, the quick answer is no. I thought it was handled well, like she said, by Lex. I think it was someone who, it seemed like someone who was confused and wanted something they couldn't have, and they did things in the wrong way, the incorrect way, to try to get them and to blackmail people. And that's never good, whether it's 2022 or back then. So I didn't feel like there were any big gaps in the story. I think everything kind of added up. I would have liked to have seen Lionel a little bit more. There we go again.
Yeah.
But there was no need for him to. So
I don't know. I think the thing about invisibility, and you never see it again in any episode or any reference to it, it's kind of a crazy thing to be able to become invisible from some kind of plant that has kryptonite or whatever in it. And it seemed a little much to create this invisibility and then never reference it again, and never, other people not using it and whatnot. And it felt kind of ridiculous, but again, you gotta suspend disbelief in a lot of these episodes with the kryptonite poisoning and the river with Henry and Hourglass, and the cool and the hothead, and there's certain things you just have to go, okay, it's one of these.
He's just named every episode.
But this one was tough because he wasn't really like the main. Like, he was just maybe that was the point. Like, he was just in the background the whole time.
He's protecting his sister.
He was just protecting his sister, but he wasn't like a focus
right
of anybody's. And maybe that was the point, now that I say it out loud.
Yeah.
That he was in the background.
I think one of my favorite things about the episode is when the mom confronts her and the brother walks in. He's wearing a purple sweater and a green t-shirt. And I just remember being like, is that and she was wearing purple. And I thought maybe it was a Luthor Corp thing. I don't know.
Maybe since they're working for the Luthors or Lex. Yeah, maybe. Here we go. This is Crystal. Crystal, what's your question, Crystal? Let's hear it.
Hi, this is Crystal Cross from Iowa. I love the use of paint in the episode Shimmer. The brother paints the meteor rock rose juice on to become invisible and be right in the midst of everything, just like David did with Napoleon's mother, painting her to make her visible right in the center of it. And in the end, the brother is then painted with yellow and red paint and becomes visible right in the middle of that room. We don't know why the paint is on the scaffolding there, but it's conveniently there unnoticed the whole episode. Do these little all too convenient things that Smallville does ever bother you? Do you ever laugh and say, why?
Yeah, I mean, it would have been like nice if somebody said early on, Lex was like, it's like, oh, Lex, maybe some construction workers walk out, they're painting something in the Luthor mansion, or just to reference it. So later on, you're like, okay, I buy it that there was paint in the Luthor mansion. But
was it the paint that was going to be used to clean up the room upstairs that was spray painted?
I don't know.
That's what I kind of convinced myself of. That's why there was
convinced myself of. But yes, I think that there's a lot of convenience in the storytelling at times to kind of wrap things up. And later on, I think when there's more through line into next episodes and episodes carry on with character and story, it becomes more interesting. But when everything's wrapped up in a nice little package, it kind of sometimes gets a little annoying.
Well, they call it the coda. It's the fourth act where everything does get wrapped up because the show was designed where every episode is basically a standalone.
But the design changes. It becomes different. I mean, once the episode, the series goes, we work on character and character development and story and plot lines and all these things that carry on and aren't just wrapped up in one episode, which I find more interesting. But I hear what you're saying. I just burped. Sorry.
What did you eat today?
I haven't eaten yet. That's probably the problem, but I've been drinking a little bit. Here we go. This is Sweet Nolan. Nolan's got a question. Nolan,
I've been
good.
drinking a little bit.
Hey, my name is Nolan. I'm from Richmond, Virginia. I have a question for Michael about the episode Shimmer. Did you have any sort of a hand in getting Azura Skye to guest star in this episode? Thanks, guys.
Nolan, thank you for your quick question. I really appreciate that.
Maybe a quick answer.
The quick answer would be I heard something and I immediately called and said she's awesome.
Yeah.
But that was it. So whether they listened to me or not, but I think they probably sort of listened to me and knew that we were going to work together. So thank you, Nolan. This is Michelle.
Hey, you guys. My name's Michelle. I'm from Saskatchewan, Canada. And this question is in regards to the episode Shimmer. I was just curious because in this episode, Lex has a stalker named Amy, and just wondering if you guys ever actually had to deal with that in real life. You don't have to answer the question, but I am always curious about celebrities and dealing with fanatics or, good fans. Thanks. Bye.
Well. We're getting down to the nitty gritty, aren't we? Michelle, I have experienced it a little bit. I've had some weird things where, a woman followed me home from a bowling alley. Well, why wouldn't you? I guess. No, I'm kidding. And left a note on my door that says, "Hey, I saw you at the bowling alley and followed you back. I just wanted to say, here's my number. And if you want to go out for coffee or something." And I just felt creeped out. Like she followed me home to my home and posted a note. And I was like, I didn't know she's going to come back. What was wrong? If something was wrong with her, but you have to draw the line. You have to sort of say, hey, you got to separate that, and you have to do it quickly.
That's sort of what Lex went through in this episode.
Yeah. And I've had to do it where I'm like, whoa. Hey, you're cool. You're awesome. I got to draw a line. We can't cross. Yeah. Do not cross this line. Yeah. And most people are respectful. So it does happen. You wish it didn't. You wish that, everybody would be respectful. And, Tom, have you experienced it?
I mean, I basically would just say exactly what you said. Same thing. A couple of different scenarios. And you tend to worry that for the other person more than the actual threat to yourself. But yeah, I mean, I think just, there's boundaries and, let's just keep it cool. This is an entertainment. It's a TV show. We're acting, we're not these people. And, that's the reality. So I agree. I think it's just, keep it cool.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. Old Dave. What does Dave have to say?
Hi, this is Dave Langan again from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I'm watching Shimmer right now, but it can't pertain to every one of them because it goes on all the way through. Why is it when shooting somebody in a scene that they're in a car, the headrests are always removed, even if they're in the car by themselves? I've been curious about that one.
I think so. Lex doesn't get his makeup on it. No,
maybe.
It's just looks better on camera. I mean, that's the simplest answer.
I never noticed that. Did you guys notice that?
I don't know if I noticed it, but I know that it happened, and it's because otherwise the person just has this block behind their head, and it's not very cinematic.
It's not.
It's the same thing with seatbelts in the car. We're supposed to wear seatbelts, and a lot of times, I didn't notice. You don't always. You have it across you, especially when you're doing a stunt in a car, which sounds ridiculous because you would think you would have a seatbelt on. But if the car is stopped and the shot begins that your character has to get out quickly, if no one's ever told you, you should do this. You have the seatbelt across you, but you tuck it underneath your leg. So when you reach, you're able to just pull, because you don't want to be going, click, 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 and then try to get out of a car. John Schneider taught me that. That was an old Dukes of Hazzard trick.
Interesting.
Yeah. He would know.
Thank you for your questions. I appreciate it. We have so many episodes coming up. So if we didn't get to your question, there's only 190 more to call in about. 213-538-2883 is our hotline. Remember, our socials are Talkville Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Talkville Pod on Twitter. Patreon.com/Talkville to become a patron. Overall, I did not hate this episode. There were some very good moments.
There's a lot of Lex.
There was a lot of Lex. I didn't hate my performance in this one.
This is an episode where they really hammer home the fact that you guys are becoming friends. I noticed this one was they're really because Clark is just now showing up at Luthor's mansion unannounced.
Yeah,
with flowers.
With flowers. And like they're really trying to like hammer home like, oh, these guys are gonna be friends now. Like this was one episode where I really noticed that.
Yeah.
And when Clark shows up, there's that whole thing where he's got the flowers and he's approaching. Lex doesn't know, and Lex turns around, and I think it's one of the first times where Lex goes, "Clark, how'd you get in here?" He didn't say that. He's just happy he's there.
Yeah. Maybe he said to his guards, "Hey, Clark Kent, he can come in whenever he wants. If he has a problem, he comes here."
Now, did you guys have that agreement with your trailers by this point? Were you guys buddies yet?
No, I don't think I could just walk into Tom's trailer. He might get a little annoyed. He was never in his trailer. He was always working.
That's true.
Rosenbaum rating system, folks. What did you rate this episode? Remember, 3 roses is the best. 2 roses, 1 rose. A heater is right down the middle, neither here or there. And then 1, 2, and 3 bombs. Ryan, we'll go to you first. Think about this one.
Uh-huh.
Remember, I always compare things to the pilot. The pilot was a 3. What was this?
I think there were a lot of good scenes. I think there were a lot of unique scenes based on the like what they could do with a villain. We're sort of establishing you or Lex and Clark as pals. There was some Lana tension. I'm gonna give it a 1.2.
1.2 roses.
Yeah.
Very unique.
Does someone have to add this all up at the end, and somebody's gonna be like, "What? 1.2?
I don't know.
That's gonna screw
I'll
up
just
my
give it. I'll
total."
give it a 1. Let's go with 1.
1 rose.
Yeah.
1 rose for Ryan Tance.
Yeah.
Tom Welling, sir.
1. I had already decided after I watched it. It's a 1.
This is the first time I think we're all in agreement. Or maybe
I could have gone heater, to be honest, because this isn't one that if somebody said I've never seen Smallville, this would not even be considered. It wouldn't even come to mind to show them this one.
I agree with that. I thought it was enjoyable. I thought there were some great moments. I'm going to give it. Wow, now you say that, it's either half a rose or a rose.
I could have gone heater, but I wouldn't.
I'm going to go a half a rose. I'm going to go a half a rose because there's some nice scenes, but it was a little hokey. But it was, give the director credit for shooting something that probably on paper was not as amazing. Yeah. I mean, but it was good. There was a lot of character stuff. So remember, anything over a heater is good. So half a rose for me, a rose for Tom, a rose for Ryan. Death count and save count. How many people got saved and how many died? 0 died in this episode. Jeff is taken away in an ambulance, but no one died. 2 people are saved. Clark claves. Clark saves Victoria Hardwick from drowning and saves Lex Luthor from Jeff Palmer. Through 10 episodes, 14 dead, 20 saved. And now it's time for Ryan's favorite scene. He's going to write down 3 scenes, and we will guess which one was his favorite of the episode.
Okie dokie. All right. First scene where they discover the room full of paint. And they're investigating the ghost.
Mm-hmm. Get out. Leave.
Get out. Leave. Then that's number 1. Scene number 2, just on the porch with Lana, where things are getting romantically tense. It was very, very interesting. And then
pervert.
Yeah. Well, scene 3, the final fight with the invisible guy in the paint, and the slow-mo glass break.
I'm gonna say Tom and I both agree it's number 2, the kiss with Lana.
Well, you didn't kiss Lana.
Well, the about to kiss Lana.
You guys both said 2?
Yep.
Oh, no, I like the last one.
Oh, you son of a bitch!
I thought the fight was cool in this one.
You minx!
I know.
You really?
Well, if there's no Enrique in the background, then what's the point of a romantic scene? You know what I mean?
Well, that's true. I can be your hero, baby.
If you can't match that needle drop, then
yeah.
No, I thought it was cool. With the paint, the effects, there was a little bit of slow mo, and
that. So sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Feedback.
That was it.
One of the things about shooting an episode like this, where practically when they're filming an invisible person, that invisible person, believe it or not, is not there. So there has to be a lot of discussion of what they're looking for so that later they can put in those visual effects. And I think that carries over to like the fight, and even the next episode we're going to talk about all that slow-mo movement stuff. We were still figuring it out, you know? So, and I think we pull it off pretty good.
Yeah. I have to say, watching this episode, I remember Shimmer. I remembered the episode.
Oh, your friend was in it. That's a big part.
But I just remembered it was the only one that was kind of a scary feel, like a haunted house, ghost kind of thing, haunted mansion. And I overall, what?
Wouldn't it have been so funny if Lex walked into that room with the graffiti and he was just like, I love a good horror moment. Like, because you're such a fan, and Lex wouldn't talk about that, but like you must have been fighting that a little bit.
Oh yeah. I like the creepy factor. I think, because I like horror movies, that this one made, I kind of enjoyed it. I'm not sure the effects hold up 20 some odd years later.
No.
At times they do. But remember, this was top of the, these effects were amazing back then.
For TV as well.
For TV especially.
It's a huge deal.
Yeah. And I always I never really noticed it that much, but Annette and John together are just really good,
They're so great. There's so many moments where, one of them is talking to Clark about its situation, and before the decision is made from the parent, there's a look between the two of them. And again, we'll see it in this next episode. I know we keep saying that, but it becomes more prevalent. But there's that look, and it's showing teamwork. It's showing an unspoken trust and respect, and they pulled that off so well, the two of them.
I really wanted them to kiss. I know they couldn't for the series, but
Annette O'Toole and John Schneider.
No,
yeah, so
no, Tom and Lana, Clark and Lana. That scene was really good. It was just really good. It was just very, you're moving in. She's looking at you. What's going to happen? Oh my gosh, you're caught up in it. And then bam.
Is she going to cheat on her boyfriend right here on camera?
Yeah.
Her Canada came out in that scene. That the line that you read.
What'd she say?
When she said, that's the thing about Clark Kent. I heard it. That's all I could hear. Her Canada showed. And so did Whitney's in this episode too. They both said about when they're arguing. I'm going to be on the lookout for that for the rest of the series.
We should have counted the amount of the boots. I think when
I gotta go to school.
I think when Laura Vandervoort gets on the show, there's probably going to be some more buttes.
Oh, great!
She's from Toronto. A lot of Canadians on the show.
Cheaper.
That's it. That's it for this episode of Shimmer. Stick around next week as we get close and comfortable with the episode called Hug. It's number 11. Make sure you watch it. Call into the hotline.
Please call in, because we can't. I tell you right now, we don't know why it's called Hug.
Well, we're going to talk about that in the next episode. We'll talk about it because I have an idea.
All right.
I have an idea why it's called Hug. I can't wait either. Let's take the discussion online. Let us know your thoughts on the episode over on our socials at Talkville Podcast or Talkville Pod. And if you want to let us know your thoughts for other episodes for season 1, leave a voicemail over at 213-538-2883. And anything else, boys? Ryan, always a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
Thomas Welling.
Thanks, Ryan.
See you guys. All right, it's time for our top tier patrons. They get shout outs. We love them. We're going to read their names. We thank you. If you want to join Patreon, go to patreon.com/talkville. Support the podcast and keep listening. Here we go with the shout outs. Tom, take it away.
Nikki G, Leanne P, Raj C, Santiago M, Suzanne B,
Leah S, Little Lisa, Tom T, Sophie M, Betsy D, Liliana A, Abby P.
Chris F, Kimberly E, Jeremy V, Michael H, Ray H, Karen M, Design OTG, Danielle B.
99 more, Lilani N, Catherine P, Brett G, Super Sam, always hold on to Smallville, Farrell T, or Pharrell, however you want to say it, Jeff E, Estevan G, DJ Kento.
Garrett W, Just JT R, Kimberly L, Teresa, Justin S, Eric W, Tom N, Tony V, Rodolfo V,
Jason W, Osama A, Nancy D, Megan H, Arton K, Justin T, and Lucy O, Grape Jelly 817.
Jeremy G, Anna M, Amanda R, Brandy S, Teddy 127, Michael P, Ryan R, and Michael's favorite,
Grumpyitis. Jordan M, Hillary B, The Blur, TH3 Blur, The Blur, Craig G, Christine R, Pollyanna, Karen P, and Derek G.
Jor E, like Jor-El. Richard S, Heather and Greg, Nico P, Mark D, Jason, Ramona, Brian H, Kelsey T, Jason M, DJ C, Georgina, I'm sorry. Georgina B, and Eric K.
And don't forget Kevin E, Craig, and Ashley Ryan. We couldn't do this show without you. We love your support. We're going to keep doing this as long as you do. Tom, always a pleasure. I'll see you in the next episode. Sir. Can't wait to watch some more episodes and do some critiquing.
And I'm looking forward to the next Inside of You.
Oh, yeah. Don't forget to listen to my podcast Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Will Wheaton is on this last week, so check it out. We love you.